Miles, we had some poll questions come through like a million years ago. I'm always remiss at getting to these. So the RNA modality folks are working with today. All right, we got a lot of linear here, 62%, 63%, followed by a mix of all the above. And then you've got some self-amplifying. We have maybe like one person working with circular. And then the biggest challenge you face when outsourcing the manufacturing of your mRNA LNP therapeutics looks like finding a CDMO with the necessary expertise and experience is 34% tied with achieving cost-effective manufacturing while maintaining high quality standards. And then third place is maintaining consistent quality and meeting regulatory requirements. Well, actually, I want to jump in. I'll have you each sort of address any knee-jerk reactions you might have. But I did have a question here to kind of suss out, again, as we're thinking about some of the capabilities, the growth happening in the development sector with CDMOs. How are you seeing the cost of developing and outsourcing RNA-LNPs? How have they evolved over the past couple of years? And Andy, maybe we can start with you. Are you seeing things, as we're working with different scales, different therapeutics, different LNPs, different drug substances? How has this the cost effectiveness of manufacturing evolved? Has it gotten more expensive?
Yeah, it's and that's typical for early stage transitions from a research program into phase one. You're not going to see any of the positives of at scale manufacturing. It's labor intensive. It's heavy on, you have to produce a lot of engineering runs, do batch analysis, set up all of the assays. Running GMP is expensive. So it's that initial phase one is expensive. But what I'm seeing is huge investment in the developing world right now. I did a trip down into South America to a conference in Brazil, the Developing World Vaccine Manufacturing Network. It was in Sao Paulo just before Christmas. And they're building GMP mRNA facilities in Brazil, Colombia, Argentina. And that was just in South America. And it's happening in Africa, it's happening in India, all over the world. And it's being driven by these non-government entities like Gates Foundation and CEPI, and then Quantum's coming in with their automation, offering very low cost, enzymes and production. So we wouldn't be seeing that investment if there wasn't a compelling case.
A value proposition
prices, a value proposition. So it's there, you're just not going to see it in the early stage development.
Immediate. Where are you finding the greatest, costs kind of are coming in today and in that world? You mentioned a whole number of things, but where do you think a majority of that cost is lavished on? Is it the raw materials? Is it the quality control? Where are you finding that to be the biggest pain point?
It's, some of the enzymes are still expensive. The cost of making that plasmid is still high. The GMP side is kind of generic to the industry. It's not different for mRNA.
Time and materials. It's time and materials.
Time and materials.
The cost of running a clean room is the cost of running a clean room.
Yeah, and the only thing that stinks is what Andy said is you don't, even at the smaller scale, you still have all the unit operations. You don't get to make less of a high quality product. You don't get to remove, just because we're making a 10-liter batch finished product. That's still, you're going in, you're taking up the GMP rooms. You still got to have those hold times, those tests and everything else like that until we get the more continuous or inline analytics that we're seeing. Like Quantum's got that one, Diant, they start talking about that. I don't know about really the need for continuous manufacturing of lipid nanoparticles. I don't know what that really looks like application wise. I see the value more so with the more expensive drug substance, but I don't know, because again, if you're doing that continuous manufacturing, it depends, I guess, when you're going to take that final concentration and then how you're going to do the fill finish. Because a lot of the times, if you have your LNP manufacturer, and they don't do the, actual fill finish, they may probably, you put sucrose in there or some cryoprotectant, and you do a bioburden reduction filtration into a bag. You send it to the fill finish place. Well, you lost some material in that bioburden reduction, because all they're going to do is grab it and then thaw it or whatever, reconstitute it, test it, and then sterile filter it again through a 0.2 micron filter, and then test, and then they fill it. So then you've lost a little bit there, but again, is it that big? It probably won't work out, as we had mentioned before with the personalized cancer vaccines. You don't have time for stuff like that. So maybe if you, be
application specific.
Yeah, back before COVID, Stone was trying to do the personalized cancer vaccine, and that was a nightmare to coordinate the drug substance coming in with the LNP manufacturing drug product to be like, okay, well, we're going to receive it within this period, but it's GMP. You have to do the release testing. Even if you're releasing at risk, you have the bioburden information coming in or whatever, you still have to turn that stuff around. And again, if you only have 200 vials, which tests are you running to characterize this? Because you could test yourself out of the product and you don't have any left to actually dose the patient with. So
that's going to be one of the big pain points.
It's just man, it's what a crazy technology. It can do one person or the entire world.
That's why we like it. It makes it fun.
When you look at the cost, to me, when I do budget everything, almost just do an estimation. I would divide into raw material cost bucket, development cost, GMP cost. Of course, I put the FTE separately. All right. If you look at raw materials, we do have more choices. I think both Andy and I said, well, there are so many companies coming up, new enzyme, NTPs. You probably can find, more affordable one, but still very expensive. And it depends on the which program is scale to, right? If it's a larger scale, more material is basically linear, you increase. So raw material cost is a pretty big cost for the mRNA right now. We see the reducing gradually or more competitive market for the raw materials supply, but it is a big cost. Then the second part is development cost, right? So you have a choice. Either you put more effort into development, so your GMP have less failed runs, or you say, hey, let's do development very quickly, go to GMP. Then GMP cost is just almost a fixed cost because GMP facility is expensive. CDMO will not give you, no matter which CDMO go, they may have a price difference, but not like only 10% of the CDMO cost. So it's very, I think that the fluctuation is not too much at the GMP facility, but as a company, how to reduce the failed runs. You use your material, you use GMP. It's not 100K. You're looking at millions.